I'm happy. Yeah. So,
Hmm. Oh, gee. Okay. Put that on
sorry
there.
for the delay, guys. Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One, and tonight we're gonna go over a couple of things we went over a few weeks ago. Got to pay attention to this, y'all, because this is right in your hands. And sometimes we get information from other people who trying to be you and trying to give you information and they not even themselves. And normally what the African American, the black, the Negro do, they love getting information from other people thinking it's making them smarter. And it doesn't. You have to get the information from yourself, your family, your genealogy, you, the research and the thinking that you do. This is what you have to share with yourselves. Tonight, as always, the Accomac godmom is with us, and she's going to give us some tips on how to connect your status. I'm sorry, correcting your status and claiming your indigenous nation. This is simple, you guys. Simple. You got to get rid of that fear. You're scared. Something gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. You see what's happening now at all these borders. You see most of us trying to ignore it. Albertha,
Yay, Alberta.
what are you doing, love?
Diamond in the rough lawn care.
You guys got to get this stuff. It's right in front of your face. So without any further ado, we're going to have a few guests joining us tonight. Please listen to the information put forward. This is the information that you can use for yourself and your families. Now is the time where it's not your ego, but you got to pay attention to yourself and stop drinking water out of everybody else's mouth. It don't work. So without any further ado, I'm gonna hand it over to Miss Accomac, Miss Lisa Cypress. How you doing, Lisa?
Doing good, doing good. It's been a long time. Thanks for having me. Such a long time. Right?
Well, we got other we got baby.
We
You know
trying to
how
make
life
life
is.
make things happen, man. We're trying to make some real things happen, and uh it's been getting crucial lately that we start speaking, providing some solutions, right? We got enough people that's trying to provide clarity, um, or provide, information about who you are. What do you what do you do? What do you do with that information? What can you do? What should you do? Why should you do it? And how can you do it? This is not going to be a one and done thing. It's going to be part one, part two, part three, part four thing, because it's a lot of information, and we find that people have a very short attention span. So it really doesn't make sense for us to put it all out there. Odds are you're not going to listen. Odds are you're not going to look back and use it. So we're just going to give it to you in some bites, because that's just the way the Indians are. They need small bites. So small bites it is. Okay, small bites it is. Um, so basically, it's kind of hard because the diehard Indigenous fans, they know what they know, but there is a large population of people who don't. know, are just finding out, just figuring out, and they need to know. Also, there are a lot of people who know what they know, but they still haven't done anything with it. Like, and what is the point of doing something with it? What is it? Well, the point of doing something with it is so that you don't end up confused, right? And being in one of these crazy groups, getting uh, you know, uh sidestepped by all these different entities that are trying to keep you from being your indigenous self. You know, whether it's, sororities, fraternities, citizenship groups, whether it's Indian groups that are just made up, Nuwamis, or whether it's, some of these other groups that are just like collective organizations of various indigenous people, to really be able to wield your rights and benefit from who you are the way you should. It's really important that you actually organize yourself as the people you are, right? Not as some random, not even as a random indigenous group, not as a collective indigenous group, no HOTEP, no FBAs, no, religious group, no, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, therefore I'm protected, all this stuff that people want to just be lazy and just put on the brake, pump the brakes and said, I'm enough. Yeah, okay. You might want it to be enough. You might be told that it is. All you have to do is be, I'm an indigenous person and I'm a good, but really the point of it is that, don't you want to be everything that you can be, to collect all the rights and benefits that you can, and to have all the power that you should have? Shouldn't that be the goal? To really have all the power that you should have. That should be your goal. It shouldn't be your goal just to be like, well, I'm good. I got this tax thing sewn up and I'm good. Because there's a lot more that they have done to us, and that they owe to you, and that they owe to your people, your kinfolk, as a collective. So being able to identify yourself, and your people, that's important. We gotta be able to identify ourselves fully as a people. So the most important thing, if you look at the tree, not the dead tree, because the dead tree got a dead end. All that other stuff that I was talking about, that you could actually organize yourself and be distracted into being, that stuff is a dead end. It's a dead tree. What you want is to be on a living tree. You want a living tree, right? You want a tree that shows you who you are, what your roots are, and has living roots, right? Great grandma, this cousin, that cousin, all these people that are your people. That's what you need to know about. You need to know, organize yourself as your real, true people, because that's going to give you the ability to fight. That's going to give you the foundation to fight. Because, truth be told, this is gonna be a fight of, just like about just a spiritual fight, and a fight with a paperwork fight. You know what I mean? And so for you to have your paperwork straight is imperative, but for you to have your understanding of self straight is imperative. It is first imperative for you to say, okay, who am I? How do I connect to these people? Do I have my tree straight? A lot of people are going around and they want to claim, land that, they feel that they connect to, and they are actually, some of them getting their land turned over to them. But the reality is that this land belongs to just not just them. You know, Not just that. I'm not even talking about the cousins and stuff that you that are not being considered that you know of. But what about all them other families that you don't know about? All them other surnames that are connected to that same pattern. See, that's a problematic situation. And what you want is you want to reduce your problems. You want solutions. You don't want to be in a situation where somebody's going to be coming for you, right? And all you are is an individual who claim based upon your connection to that name or that patent or your supposed connection to the patent. Because, are people doing thorough genealogy when they're claiming these patents? Don't know. Some people believe they don't need to have the genealogy done. So then they could be claiming somebody that ain't really you, because what we don't understand when we don't really do the thorough genealogy is that, like on the Eastern Shore, there are Carters that are Accomack Indians, but then there are Carters that are Europeans. They're actually French Huguenots. They're not the same family. So you can have the same surname but be of different origin. So just having the surname doesn't make you them or make you the Indian. You got to understand that this gets technical. It is technical. But when we're trying to do something that's right and correct the wrongs, we want to correct the wrongs the right way. You don't want to be like the daggone, infiltrators and the invaders. You don't want to do things like they do. You got to do things the right way. You want to do right by yourself, and you want to do right by all your people. That's the point. Peace, Miss Geechee God, Mrs. Geechee God. So basically, this is the thing. Genealogy is definitely the basis of how you need to move forward. The most important thing is for you to identify your family. Identify the names in the tree that connect you to your land, your homeland. Now, when I say that, I mean that when you're doing this genealogy, I think there's only 2 slides on this thing. I think, so basically when you're doing your genealogy, it's important for you to know that, these people, they go back further than the county. You don't got to go back to a number. Like certain people are like, I only got back to the 1800s. I can't do what you know. Wait a minute. What you talking about? You only got back to the 1800s. What does that mean? No, that doesn't mean anything. That's not a bad thing, because you got to understand that in the 1800s, shoot, that's further back than the county. If you don't know that it's further back than the county, you got to understand the history of where your people come from. So in order to understand that, first you got to have the genealogy where you know that this is where my family was. Look at, I got back to 18 whatever. Okay, this is my great 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 grandfather or what have you. And so you got your great great grandfather, but then you have to know, okay, this is my great great grandfather. So then you want to be able to say, okay, now let's see where he was at that time. Let's see what county it was. When was he born? If his birth predates the county, and lo and behold, you even know who his daddy's name is, your people predate the whole county. They predate any Europeans being out there doing anything. That's your indigenous people. That's your indigenous territory. But then your next thing is to find out, the next thing you need to know is where your people is, the fact that what about that county? What were the names of the Indians in that county? Now, we already know, like based upon various books and various accounts, especially this one, that talks about the color when they grow up. It's a chestnut brown and tawny. You know, chestnut brown, you know that our people were various shades of brown, copper colored people. Okay. We're understanding that on many different levels. Many people have a full understanding of this. Okay. We need to have a full understanding of this. But when we have a full understanding of this, you got to understand that those colored people, those those Negro people that are described in the counties before the counties existed, those are your Indians. And then you got to be an expert of that county. You got to find out the names of the rivers, the names of the streams, the names of the lakes, the names of the trees, those names of the Indians that have been recorded that are in that county. There may be land patents that are associated with your county. Behind my head is a land patent. Let me see. Behind my head are some copies of two of my Genghis-Khan Accomack land patents. All right, behind my head. One is for 1,600 acres. The other one is for 650 acres. That's not counting the different surnames that are associated with, the families that are us Genghis Khan Indians, right? Our Accomacs. So there's a lot of different land patents that are associated with your people, and ours are small. We're on a small peninsula, but what we have recorded, that they haven't destroyed or whatever, is not as much as a lot of y'all that live in some of the other southern states. You have masses, thousands and thousands of acres that are just within your family name or within your people, but 50,000 acres, 100,000 acres. Y'all got a lot. So, I mean, y'all should, that's something that you should know. But you also need to know, be the expert of your people, what your names were, where you were located. The European romances the Indians. They have all kinds of information. They collect our artifacts. They collect our history. They want to be us. We're romantic as long as we're not us. As long as we don't know that we're us, they romance us. They romanticize our existence. When we're defunct, when we don't exist, when we're somebody else. But when us being who we really are, it's a problem. But see, you have to find out exactly who you are, what your history is. That's what's important. Finding out what your history is and how you connect to it. Okay? How you connect to that history. And that way you will have the basis for filling in an affidavit to reclaim your identity.
Lisa, can you give an example of that movie we just saw this week?
Oh, that flower moon thing?
Yes, how the land is taken, and how you're always tricked. Could you explain that?
Yeah. The thing about that movie, the movie is a Martin Scorsese movie out. The Flower of the Moon Killers or whatever. Killers of the Flower Moon, that one. It's out, and it's it's supposed to be one of the best movies of the year. However, it's really not being shown like you think it should be. Like they don't feel like it's being shown like it should be. But but we need to, let me see if I can show it to you here. The trailer. I'm gonna get the trailer for y'all. I'm gonna try to get it on I can't is that it? Flower, okay, there it is. Okay. All right, so Yeah. So you saw the movie, right? Hello?
Yeah, I
Amber.
saw it.
You saw it. What was your
Yeah.
impression of that?
I mean, well, since I know most of the story that, since I know it, and this is what I've been telling everybody, you'll pick it up. You'll
Right.
get it. Those people are not the people that they're portraying as the Indians. Those are not the Indians. Those are the people they call Native Americans. And this is
Right.
what we got to get, because a lot of us don't get it. A lot of us think that the stuff that we know because we learned it from somebody else, that's it. It's not. This whole thing is to keep you confused.
Right.
As long as you're confused, they win.
Mm-hmm.
These people tell you they come from Missouri. All you have to do is look up the Indians who came from Missouri that moved to Oklahoma. They look
Right.
just like you today. But
Facts.
since our history has been just toe up, and we believe everything they say in history, we go with that.
Mm-hmm.
They were telling the story about how they take your land today because we don't know. Go ahead, Lee.
Am I? Oh, I had it playing. Okay, cool. Let me make it bigger, huh? It's an ad. Oh, that's something else. Damn it. I'm sorry. Got the wrong tab. No, not that one.
You guys check this out. And this is how these people get over on us. And our problem is we don't even look at we look at ourselves, like I say, we look at ourselves as all these foreign objects that we've been given, that we've been called biblical characters.
Your father has always known you are special. Nothing will change that, Mary. Mary, we are ready. The music, play!
Mary, you're getting married. It's about to be the best day of your life.
Oh shoot, sorry. It's got sound from another tab.
But I'm not in control at all. None at all.
There it is. There you go. Okay, I got you now.
Flower is the best movie of the year.
How does much as you do? But I'm not in control.
The taller one standing by the car is supposed to be an Indian.
None at all.
Getting some skippage.
Well, why don't you do this?
Killers of the Flower Moon is the best movie of the year.
Since it's having problems buffering, why
Yeah.
don't you, when it gets to the woman,
Freeze it.
freeze it and put the real picture of her up. And this is what I mean. This is how you got to look at things, guys. The woman that they have portraying on this, put up another picture of the real woman, and you'll see who they're talking about. They're talking about your grandmothers. They're talking about your great grandmothers.
Right.
Since you're Christian, you're Hebrew, you're Greek, and notice the timelines and all of it.
Right. They're trying to make everybody else. Well, they keep committing the same crime all over again, over and over again, and we keep falling for it. They tell everybody who they are, right? So now what are they doing? Why are they showing us Killers of the Flower Moon? Because they want to show you what an Indian is. Why are they showing you Jesus? Because they want to show you what the real Jews are like, right? They're trying to let you see that these white Jews are the real Jews, right? They made them a little bit, have a twinge of melanin, not even. They look a little, what do they call them people when they look a little bit, have a little bit of color? I forget what the word is. But anyway, they look like they have a tinge of something, but they really basically are white, just the same thing as the Indian. They look mostly white. So they're trying to reestablish this. Why? Because they're trying to commit another genocide. They're trying to let you think that all these people, they're trying to just make up the truth. They're falsifying the truth. They're committing fraud. They're committing fraud in 2023, and we don't get it. We don't get that these people are just straight up lying and committing fraud and doing a mass, miseducation, right? Mass in miseducation of the people. That's what they do. They do this mass miseducation, and we all are supposed to fall for it. But at what point do we say, okay, this is what it is? They're trying to do a reset of what we're now learning to be true. We're learning that we are the Indians, and we're learning that these so-called people that are supposed to be Indians are actually others. They're either immigrants, straight up Europeans, highly European, or highly Asiatic, Native Americans. We know that the Indians, that Powhatan was dark as night, as were his men. That's how he was described. But they sweep all the truth under the rug, just like with this movie. They made the person that is the character in this movie, which her name is Molly Burkhart Osage, right? Molly Burkhart Osage. What does she look like? Well, when we look at Molly Burkhart Osage, we got to look at her real picture, because they don't never show it in the movie. And they tried to show like a newsreel to try to show that Tulsa was Little Africa. They called it Africa. So they trying to cement these this miseducation into our minds. And then these films become footage, and they become truth to us, like a true depiction. Our grandchildren are going to look at it and think that's a true image. That's why they make these films, to create truth, to create history, to mistell it.
And we're always falling for the okie doke.
People want to think that this is like, oh, Scorsese cares about the Native American. He cares about this horrible history being, told in truth. No, he don't care about that. No, sir, ma'am. No, he does not. He cares about making sure that this indigenous momentum gets the brakes placed on it, right? They want the brakes on this. So they're creating all these other things to distract you. Here, we're going to tell you about Harriet Tubman. We're going to tell you about, the African warrior woman. They want to replace you, you being directed into who you truly are and to your own genealogy, to all these other stories that they've told us 100 times over in various ways to try to keep us from being our true selves. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. But when you see that, okay, this is the true Mali. This is the true Mali, the true Indian. But then you say, well, in the movie, the Osage movie, the actress, although she did a nice little, acting thingy, she acted good. She was a good little actress. I'm not saying the woman did not know how to act. I'm saying, why did Martin Scorsese choose to place a woman in this role who in no way resembled Molly Burkhart as far as her complexion? And then they even have a line in the movie where they talk about her complexion. Her complexion was not that. That picture, they show all kinds of pictures of Molly that ain't Molly, right? Different pictures that of Molly. Maybe it was her younger. I don't know. It could possibly have been her. But Molly, when you see her, and I don't know how much they lightened up the younger picture, but when you see her next to her husband, that picture, that's the real Molly Burkhart. She ain't no pale Indian at all. And the Osage were not pale Indians. These people had been mixed through and run through, but the Osage are not that. That's not what they are at all. At all. So in this movie, they're trying to direct your thinking. Oh, you can't possibly be the Indian because this is what an Indian looked like. And Martin Scorsese is a reputable director. And if he did it, then you better correct yourself. You better check yourself. You better, because if anybody know. And then you got to understand, what time in history was this? 1927. Damn, they had run through all the Indians by then. That's recent, man. My dad was born in 1927. See, a lot of you, because maybe younger and you don't have that kind of context. But my dad was born 1927. That's when this whole Osage thing was happening. Same age as Molly's kid was my dad. Molly was same age as my grandma. Or maybe younger than my grandma, really. But that's how you make it relevant. That's how you put yourself in this. You got to understand that these are all recent Indians. They try to act like this is ancient history. They show this like, oh, this is recent shit. These people already ran through for generations. Ran through for generations. That's what you got to keep in mind. These people they're not this. Now look at Molly Burkhart in the movie. Okay, y'all see it? Y'all see Molly Burkhart in the movie? Now, they have a line where they talk about, what color are you? What kind of color is this? What you call this color? They're the same color in this movie. And they actually spoke that line in the movie. You're looking at it and it didn't make no sense that he even said that, because they both the same damn color. Y'all see a difference in color? So, I mean, that's the thing. The movie, that's what they do. They want to do anything possible to keep us from knowing who we are. That's the thing.
And
Everything.
the main thing in the movie, he was killing her throughout the whole movie, kind of like they do you today.
Right.
And and this is why, yeah, it was a good movie, but it really should be a lesson for us. She just loved him and just caressed his face and sucked his toe. She did everything to make him feel comfortable. And from the time he stepped on the scene, his job was to get rid of her ass, just like they do you today. And she treated them just how the Negro treats everybody, just drinks out of everybody's mouth, listen, believe what everybody tells them, won't search their families at all, will cuss you out, will tell you you hate your African self, and you ain't got a goddamn thing to do with Africa.
Mm.
So this is why if you see the movie, you will notice it. You'll get it. From the time he stepped on the scene, his job was to kill her so he can what? Get her property, get her land, get her oil rights. Sound
Right.
familiar?
Right. Right. And that's why it's so imperative that when you go through the process of being your indigenous self, that you do it in the right way, that you actually repatriate your people in, the right way, that you actually are, so you're actually able to get your land back, but even more so than getting your land back, get your rights back like you should. You need to get everything back, because everything they told us is not true. It's not true. So we need to do what we can do to correct the truth. And the first thing you got to correct is yourself. You got to correct yourself first, right? And then establish a place for you and your family to recollect yourselves as a nation, to be continued. We're gonna cut this broadcast short, right, Carrie? Because we don't want to have people get bored. We also don't want it to be that long, and we want to make sure that we get the vital information in smaller bites. So this is part one. Stay tuned. We're gonna all get together for part two.
Lisa, thank you for that. And this is just what I want to tell the crowd. Listen, all this that we doing, pretending like we don't know, following bullshit that makes no sense. See, that's on us. You can't blame. So it's like this brother invited me to a veterans thing on Veterans Day. And so I asked him, and I know this question hit him at some point. We just ignore stuff thinking it's gonna be cool. I'm like, yo, dude, you went to go fight for all these wars, killing all these people that are here on your doorstep now. You don't see a problem with that? And the look on his face was like, damn, I never thought of it like that. And when you talk to African Americans, when you talk to blacks, when you talk to Negroes, when you talk to Moors, they always have that look on like that face. I don't know. We never know nothing. Time's up for that, y'all. Time's up for that. The whole game plan is to rid the planet of you. If you don't know, better find out. So, Lisa, thanks again for joining us tonight and giving us that information. Remember, guys, do genealogy on yourself. Who are you? Where you come from? That's on you. You at least owe that to your children. I know many of y'all getting ready for Christmas and all that. Wouldn't that be the perfect gift to give your children? A roadmap to who they are? You guys have a good night. We'll see you next time. Peace.